What's up YouTube, mDecks Music here. Today we have something really cool, something we've never done before. We've basically created a whole series on harmonization and reharmonization. So what we're going to do is show you how to harmonize a melody, how to put chords to it, and then reharmonize it using more rich, complex and interesting chords after that. So by the end of the course, you'll be able to create your own arrangement like the one we made for Oh Danny Boy using Mapping Tonal Harmony Pro. Alright, so here are some of the basics with regard to using Mapping Tonal Harmony Pro. One of the first things we need to understand is how the map looks and how we've divided the map into three regions. We've got our tonic region over here, our subdominant grouping or region over here, and our dominant grouping over here. Now it's really important to understand when you're looking at a chord progression where in this map the chord you're looking at falls. Does it fall into the tonic region? Does it fall into the subdominant region, etc.? Because you're not going to know how to reharmonize that chord or do whatever you want to do after or before that chord until you figure that out first. So that's one of the first things, and we're going to talk about all that later too, more in depth. But that's one of the first things you need to understand about looking at the map, that you basically have three different families of chords, and you're trying to identify when you're looking at a chord progression, where does the chord I'm looking at fall? So then you know what to do with it. So here we have C, F, G, and C. Your primary chords in the key is C in a major on the outside. Inside you have them in a minor, C minor, F minor, G7, and C minor. So two examples of 1-4-5, one in a major key, one in a minor key. You can also change the key if you want. Let's go to G, and then the chords completely change within and outside the circles. It's still in that whole subdominant, dominant, tonic region motif. So there's 1-4-5 in the key of G, and then the minor, G minor. If you like, you can also see the chords functionally. So if I just click on the function button right here, now the chord symbols have turned into Roman numerals. You still get the same chords, you still get the same movement, but now you get to see how the chords function diatonically within the progression. So if you see we're still in function mode here, we can see how each diatonic chord still relates to the region that it's in. 1 is tonic, 4 is subdominant, and 5 is dominant. It's important to note that all these chords are superimposed onto separate circle of fifths, if you will. And a chord's functions always with regard to the circle in the same place. So we've basically taken a circle of fifths and taken out a bunch of the chords. So if we're in C, which we are, you'd have a C there, you'd have a G there, you'd have a D there, and then boom, there's A minor, the sixth chord. You notice we've grouped the sixth chord of the key into the tonic section. We'll get into why we did that later also. But the point being that these are just circles of fifths in separate regions that we're going to use to help us navigate harmony and reharmonization. Okay, so let's talk about certain tendencies that you're going to notice when navigating the map, or how to navigate the map. So when we're looking at the map and we're going from one place to the next, you're basically going to see a sort of kind of clockwise movement. That's the best way to go. So for example, I would go from there to there to there. So that kind of 4-5-1 movement is always safe. So this 5-1, this is your strongest resolution. All right, so you're always going to kind of want to end your cadence or your idea or your phrase with that. That gives me the most concrete tension release resolution kind of sound that we're looking for. There are other pathways that you can follow, and there are other cadences. Like if I did this 1-4-1, that's a different type of cadence called a plagal cadence. If I want Mapping Tonal Harmony to tell me these cadences, where they are and what they're called, all I have to do is turn the cadence detector on here. So now when I do something typical, like that 4-5-1, there's that pathway showing up that we're talking about, moving us in this clockwise direction. And there's that authentic cadence that I get when I go from the 5 chord to the 1 chord, from the dominant region to the tonic region. The 1-4-1 cadence, that's my plagal cadence. That's something often used as well. If I want to see other types of cadences and other pathways, or if I want to superimpose these pathways and cadences onto the map, I can do this. I can just show main. We're still in the basic diatonic map form. And now that pathway that highlighted earlier from the subdominant region to the dominant region is now superimposed on the map. The authentic cadence is there, and the plagal cadence is there too. So now when I activate one of these cadences, they'll highlight. But now we can see them beforehand. So if I know before I do it, when I do this to that it's an authentic cadence. Or when I do this to that, I know before I do it, it's going to be a plagal cadence. If I want to see alternative cadences and other cadences as well, I have to use a slightly more complicated version of the map. So I'm going to go up one level and turn on the alternate cadence detector. So now if I do something like this, all right, 2, 5, and then I went to A minor, there's my deceptive cadence detector showing up.